Do you know New York?
A bit, I'm coming sometimes, but I haven't been there for a while now. Most of the time, I was coming for either parties, American Illustration Society, or things.
Yeah,
I'm not there pretty often. I'd like to come more, but it's always I'm always stuck here.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because we live here, but I've only been to Manhattan twice in a year. Because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
We're pretty much we may well be living in Quebec somewhere. I arrived in New York in the '80s. You got on the scene in the '90s.
I got in Canada in '89.
Okay.
And I was just, really, really out of school. I just get in the Maritimes to for the you used to have the military service in France, so you had to do one. And me, thanks to my studies, you can help government, with whatever they have, mission outside of the country instead of doing the military service.
You're in Quebec somewhere. You're in a small town in Quebec, or?
No, it's really. I'm just on the other side of the river. In front of the Montreal downtown. So
Okay.
it's like you cross a bridge.
Okay.
I don't know if there's no traffic. It happens.
Yeah.
Let's say late at 8 p.m. There's no much traffic. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'll be downtown.
Oh, cool. So you're basically in Montreal, but you live Listen, I have what I've done is I've downloaded a bunch of images that can kind of kick off some ideas, some talk stuff. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen now, and
yeah, of course.
I just go through this stuff, and then we can go back and forth.
Yeah, just putting a bit of volume sometimes.
When I was a kid,
mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I was really influenced by this book, which is it's called Flugten til Amerika. I'm Danish, and my grandmother had this book, and it's called Flight to America. It's a story about this kid who brings his baby brother, and they escape to America, right?
Yeah.
And that was my first. And when they get to America, and this is their dream is they go to America and they can sit around, eating fruit, and there's money everywhere, and they smoke cigars. So, your work, the way that you work, this kind of 18th century mode that you work in, really reminds me of this a little bit, So
I didn't know this book, but it's beautiful, and I agree with you. This is really things I would have been into anyway, if I had known it.
But I'm sure there are books that you have and you grew up that had that. Like check out the pretzel. They're leaving for America with a pretzel.
It's really nice.
Wow.
I would check.
Well, you won't find it. It's a Danish book. It's a classic Danish book. But for me, that was for me that was it was part of the impetus for drawing. Was that from a very young childhood? I went, oh yeah, right, okay, cool. I'll do that.
All these periods, I would say, it's really it's not things I was really introduced when I was younger. It's really like I get from scratch. Really, really, I had not a true knowledge, in art or anything. I get in school, I discover a bit, but I'm a late bloomer, if I could say. I discover things through a lot of reading also, and wanted to discover what I read about and things. And that's how it really gets. But the old images like that, or the Epinal, it rings a bell. Epinal printer, all those images, in 3 colors and everything. And to me, I really had many things, with kids anyway, no matter the period. So all the painters or all the art where there was kids, I was interested in. So it's true that Struwel Peter, for example, the book Struwel Peter.
That's the next book on my list.
Yeah, Struwel Peter. I'm sure you know that. Struwel Peter. It's like...
Well, let me show you why you're talking about it, because that's the other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Strudel here, because that's that was so for me, the Flight to America, Float to America, and Struwelpeter were both in my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
And so this is the other one. I'm not sure. So we're doing this for students. I'm not sure the students really know who this guy was.
Yeah, to me, it's really like to me, it's really, you know, you have Henrik Hoffman, you have this book, then you have Gore, and then you have, you know, people, you know, that came from there. But it's really because what I like mostly, and how I discover it is pretty simple. You know, I was waiting for my wife in a little street in Montreal, and there was this little bookstore, and they have that in the window. And I was just
really?
like, what is that? What is that? I was just amazed just by the cover. And
was it in French?
No, it was in English, an English version.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then I discovered the book, and I was just like, wow, it's amazing. And then after that, I was reading, and that's how, you know, I made most of my discoveries, if I could say, or things, you know, I could have links between. I was reading about Balthus, you know, some discussions he had with someone, and he was saying
about Balthus.
Yeah, and he was saying that, you know, Struwelpeter was one of his.
Oh, really? Well, Balthus, you know, actually, you're Swiss, right?
No, I'm French. But Balthus was.
I read in Wikipedia that you're Swiss, but I guess maybe that's.
No, maybe they made a mistake. I'm really born in France, and I'm French.
Because when you say Balthus, you know, I realize that the way he structures pictures is very similar to you. You know, it's like a very beautiful.
It's a big influence. I was far more into art than illustrations. You know, again, you know, I didn't know that much about illustration, especially in the 80s in France. You had a big the scene of illustration was not at all the kind of thing I was into. You have Lou Stahl, which is really, really great. You have the beginning of Jean-Philippe Delhomme. You have François Avril, Petit Roulet, all these people. But
you also had Pierre Letain. You had, you know.
I was not into that.
You were not into them?
No, I mean, I liked what they were doing, but it wasn't my style. And I was just like, I had no style. I didn't know. So I was more into painting or sculpture. And that's what get me to do at some point, you know, I don't know, to take some decisions to go there or there. And as you said, you know, the composition or the structure into Balthus or into Courbet or people like that. Or Goya.
So you said Courbet also?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So
I mean, this is people I look to. I'm not saying, you know, there's anything that I can touch in what they do, you know what I mean?
No, but I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like we structure our pictures based on things like that, you know. So that really makes sense to me a lot. But what about so the other person I had was Goya.
Yeah, of course. That's what I was saying you yesterday. You know, I just get it yesterday.
Oh, really? Wow. What is that?
It's just this drawing
after
a big show in Le Prado. So it's really
beautiful.
Mostly it's drawings before it's etching.
Wow.
So you just want to cry, you know?
This stuff is incredible. So I have lots of this stuff. So I want to show some of that.
I'm sure.
Students, because it's like to me that was formative also. Like you say, like you know, Balthus, yes, but like Goya also. But also, what I think is like the way that you make pictures, the structure again, like the basic structure is very much, you know, I can really relate it to those things, you know, especially, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm a bit picky when it comes to composition. You know, I have a lot of difficulties. You know, if I'm asked to have a lot of bleed around, because it's like. Yeah. My eyes have to be into a box and know where things, and I put things this way, and I always see, I don't know, it's a way I've always liked, and what I liked most is even sculpture, you know, like Mayol.
What was that word?
The sculpture?
Yeah.
Because it has, you know, like, I don't know, like I look a lot at Mayol also.
You know, have you ever gotten into sculpture? Have you made stuff?
No, I made a couple of, you know, thing with my kids when they were young. But I'd like to, that's why I was saying, I like culture in a way that, or because of the volume of it, the fact that and it's true that I like to feel the weight of things. I'd like the monolith aspect of it. And I've always thought, or look at people who has a work that was really, really graphic, and I thought mine was not graphic at all at some point.
Oh, really?
And Huh. And I really started to look for something, and what was missing in my work, and that's always the way I look at my work. Not missing to say I want to add something, just missing like because I see in other people's work, I see things I like that I think I miss, and what do they, what did they understand that I did not? Where can I, approach something like that? This kind of feeling that I like.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing about your work is that like there's such a strong uniqueness to it. The way that you structure stuff, like this kind of. The thing is also like conceptually, I think that your work is really like it's like really. Like a little bit crazy, like that, like the way that like your ideas are a little bit nuts, like this kind of thing. I've never seen that done. I've never seen anybody approach a picture like that with this stuff. I find
thanks to Playboy. Yeah,
this Playboy.
But this one, I mean, like the problem would be for everybody. How do you address such a common text. That was for the death of a salesman.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's so difficult to come up with an idea to say what hasn't been done. What can I bring that is a little bit different? Not that I'm reinventing anything, but just when you have a piece, it's like if you ask to do something about 1984 or whatever. Just you have to find a solution.
But also like the thing about when I talk to students is I talk to them about building up a visual vocabulary that's their own, right? Which is it's like that's a tall order, really, So, but in your case, you're a really good example of that because you actually work a lot with like kind of appendages, like detached appendages and that kind of thing. You work like it's actually something that you. Like it's part of the bone structure of your ideas, which and you keep doing it, but it always seems really fresh, So, yeah, let's see. Like, what was this for? What was that about?
This one was, when you used to have short stories in Playboy. So this one was about, I would say an older guy that used to be a seducer, and he was just referring to all the past women he had or something like that, if I remember really? Well. Because it was a long, long time ago. But now, that's what, from what I remember from this text. I don't think, yeah.
Okay, so can you just tell me a little bit about, so this is just simply, is it pastel?
It's just acrylic.
It's acrylic, okay.
Acrylic on paper. But again, that's what I was saying, all those things, I never had courses in true illustration, true conceptual things. The way design courses were in France, you get in because you wanted to draw. I had no idea what it was exactly. I thought it would be something about advertising. Then I discovered there was something about typography in it. We learned a bit of drawing typography by hand. There was a printing, at the printer in school with old, with old case and everything, with old typography. And so it was really this kind of courses we had, but nobody told me, how to use, acrylic or how to use brushes. So I did things, from stage to stage. If you want, for your students, I have, the different periods, if I could say. You'll have a lot of fun, seeing how it evolves.
That would be really wonderful to see. Yeah. So
because I really started from big cardboard.
Oh, really? Oh,
it was in volume. You could have, 3 or different rows of cardboard. You have to make a picture of it. And my first portfolio was big garbage bags.
Oh, really? Okay. I'd love to see that. Maybe you can send it to me. Yeah, I'd love to see that. So like, I went to school for like a semester. I dropped out, so I never went through the process of school really.
Yeah.
But it seemed like, so it seems to me that your where you went was more, it was more about just the ideas behind things than the actual technique.
Yeah, I mean, this also is something that I don't know. I try to say to my students, or I guess we all make choices, to get closer to what we'd like to do, to what we'd like to, for who we'd like to work for, or
Mm,
so,
mm.
and there are things we like, there are people we admire or work we admire, and so I guess we just make, choices after choices to get closer to that. And I guess at some point, my work was not that much conceptual at all. It's just, things that get, I would say, years after years, I get into that because it's also something I like. So, but I like to challenge, so I'm not saying my work is really, really different from there to there, but I'm just trying to say, I'd like to work with everybody, some kind of, to
Yeah.
be able to work for every type of assignment.
Well, I mean, but the thing about it is, yeah, that's what you think, but you're actually quite specific. What you do is pretty nailed down. I don't, but luckily you're able to do, like, children's book. You can do the light stuff and the heavy stuff. This is a beautiful piece. What was this for?
It was for Stanford, if I remember well, Stanford magazine,
Yeah.
medicine, and it was about the what was it, about the brain and something, and the not dots but things, there were sequence they were finding, and I know that the light makes the difference. On my sketch, the light was not that much present,
Oh, really? Okay.
and I get in more and more. But you see, this one is not acrylic. This one is completely digital.
It's completely digital. I was going to ask you because it's pretty hard to get this kind of glow, and so you, but this is digital.
Everything is digital there. Yeah.
Working in what, Photoshop or
Yeah, just Photoshop with my. It's not even a Cintiq. I just have a cheap Vacom, and I'm just looking at my screen.
oh, really?
Yeah.
So what's your relationship to that? I mean, the digital versus the analog.
Uh, to me, what happened is just that I was getting more and more to do extra things on Photoshop. I was doing sketches that I was sending, and then the client said, "Oh yeah, but on your sketches it was." I said, "Okay, but now it's a painting." So there was always something to do, to add many bleed, and it's really when I had this columns regularly in the New York Times, the Gray Matter, where I had to do illustration that would work in a square, in in a wider range, like you had to add tons of bleed on the sides, and then it has to work also at vertical.
So the digital just simply was
So
easier.
it was just, yeah, I was painting
Uh,
part, and then and at some point I said, when I look at my sketches, I'm not that far, to do. And I said, I don't know, I need to change also just for my brain, because I was painting for a while, and yeah, I think it's simple as that. It's just the
mm.
need for the job, and at the same times because I needed a change also. I
Is it is
always
it is it do you find it easier and faster to do digital?
not really. It's different. What I miss is the accidents
Right,
in the
right.
digital. This is really what I'm trying to find. So sometimes it seems a bit fake to find to look for an accident, but it's really what's missing. So you have parts that are simpler. You have others. I would say, okay, I would have that with just one stroke on paper.
Right,
So
right.
it's, to me, it's really just the fact that it changes my everyday. That's it, so it put my brain somewhere else.
Uh,
Maybe I will stop, in a year or two, because I've just been fully on Photoshop for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
oh, really? Only that? Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I don't, I started doing it. And then I got to the point where I felt like I wasn't, whenever I made a picture, I didn't have anything. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, I just felt like, well, I ended up not caring about the pictures that much. So I've kind of stopped altogether. I mean, of course I use Photoshop for technical stuff, but I mean, but my work when I did Photoshop, it always looked like it was had been done in Photoshop. You know, it was like
Yeah,
very,
but I have no problem with that. I see,
yeah,
people that are working, digital, and it shows that it's digital, and I have no problem at all with
right,
that. To me, it was just trying to achieve, something with another medium,
mm,
with the texture I wanted. My sketches have less texture, and they work pretty fine too. It just, me right now, I'm trying to
yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I agree with you. At the end, I don't have the same feeling of accomplishment.
Anyway, I mean, it's a tiresome conversation, and
Yeah, I
it's
know.
endless. But because I teach second year students and kind of seniors. With the second year students, I tell them, listen, I really prefer that you show me some stuff by hand to begin with, because I have to understand where you're at.
But
Anyway.
I ask all the sketches, by hand.
Oh,
The
do you?
first
Okay.
sketches, the
Uh,
thinking.
yeah.
I asked that by hand because I said if you're on the computer, Procreate, no matter if you work fast on Procreate or
Yeah,
whatever, you already get into aesthetic. You're
that's
not
right.
into
Yeah, yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
think, just having ideas. So
That's
give
right.
you
Yeah.
the time, 2 hours, 3 hours, just to think of ideas,
Can
little
you
thumbnails.
for the sake of the students, can you talk a little bit about like the process of sketching? Because
Yeah.
the way I tell them, you do sketches, but you do a lot. You do like 4 or 5 different concepts for a project, because and this is where I want to ask you this, and I mean now people trust you, but I remember having to do 4 or 5 sketches for things, and right. So
Yeah.
so that well, that's one of the things that we kind of like kick around. It's like, how much do you actually have to think before you do a drawing, right? How much
Uh,
do you think?
I draw directly. I draw just to draw my first cliche, my first, I'm unable to have that in my head, think, and then sketch. I
Hmm.
have, I draw at the same time that I think. So
But
it's
you're drawing,
really
sketches, right?
exactly. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
drawing and I think, and
yeah,
then,
yeah,
I do association, I do think. So sometimes it's fast. It's true now with, I'm working, right now for about 30 years. So I get, not that I get ideas easily, but sometimes I can say when, okay, this sketch has a potential or not. But it's true, I will try to find 10 ideas maybe pretty fast, or little sketch. Then now the way I used to do it is just I put that in Photoshop, rework a lot, a little bit,
mm.
having colors and everything. I know some art directors tell me, oh, I know your work, you can just send me little thumbnails and everything, but I'm not confident with that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
to see the composition is working. I have to see if once, the proportion will be there, if it's still working. So I rework the sketches in Photoshop.
Yeah, but it shows also. I think that's one of the big reasons why your stuff is so complete. It's because you have a rigid regime with your own work. You set rules, but which is like, I don't know, for young people, they have to kind of develop it slowly. Like
Yeah.
a familiarity with it. So like thematically in your work, especially in the conceptual stuff that I'm looking at right now, there
Mhm.
there there are certain things that kind of recur. One thing has to do with kind of this uh, uh, dislocated appendages. That's the thing that kind of that runs through your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like conceptually, that works for you. In terms of symbolism, that's a thing that works. And the other thing that runs through it are this kind of dot thing. I've seen that 4 or 5 times in
Yeah, I like circles. I mean,
yeah.
no, but it's true. I mean, this is something, again, that I think a couple of things happen like that when I've tried to find something that was getting me to be less just because I'm aware that, that my work could look a little bit, old, too classic or whatever, you know, and you need something that is a little bit, I don't know, fresher. And even me, you know, I like, you know, design that is modern and everything. So I always try to see how I can improve things and find ideas. And I'm just like, yeah, I love, you know, when things contrast. You have something a little bit classic, but you have something that is a picture above it. You have, so it's really how things, you know, get started, you know, most of the time. Trying to see how I can completely change my point of view on what I'm doing, because you see the next one, for example, this one, you know, this one to me, I like it, but in another hand, to me, it's missing this little bit of modernity in it, a little something that would bring it elsewhere. I would say that the Polish poster. I'm not saying, you know,
did you just say Polish poster?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know, I'm not. This is also something I've discovered really, really late. But again, you know, I was really. Sometimes people were talking to me about things because they were seeing my work, and they said, "Oh, do you know that?" And I was young. I said, "I don't know." So I'm looking at it. But sometimes on some images, I think I find the right balance between something that is maybe a little bit classical, but at the same time, you're really right now. You're not like, okay, he did that, you know, in the 80s or 70s or something.
Right. Yeah. The nose, what's going on there? Did you decide to crop that off? Or?
Yeah, it was cropped. You know, the first thing was different a little bit, the first cropping. But in another hand, if there was too much bleed at the right and the nose was not, it wasn't working that well. The balance, you know, once you've seen it, maybe it's just me, you know, it's pretty subjective, but sometimes you have an idea in your mind, you change a bit the proportion and no.
Yeah. This so like you know, when we, I mean, I'm talking about you and our kind of our age group, although I'm a little bit older than you. When we think of concept, it's very influenced by people like Brad Holland and
of course,
you know, that whole well, you name it, that generation, and like this picture I've done also, like you know, so it's a concept that is there as a thing that we do, like, oh right, you know, you look inside yourself, so you know, like you know, but the way you do it is quite different. It's very fresh, you know, but there's a kind of like we're kind of drawing on a certain pre-existing vocabulary, right? Like very much, right?
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so like there, wow, nice, beautiful.
Yeah. This one was really I don't want to. Yeah, this one, it was a strange stories because it's a writer that I know. This one is painted. Yeah. The one before was not. The one before was digital. Yeah.
This is digital.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing how you can't tell. Wow, so scary.
But the other one is just a Quebec writer. She's really, really nice, and we did a book before. And this one was I don't know, horror stories were pretty dark and everything. So we had a lot of fun. We had a small publisher. Really? That's when I get into books where I said, okay, it's low money, but I have fun, you know. It just and I really get into illustrations, you know, at the beginning because I knew nothing about conceptual or editorial art. I discovered Brotherland when I get into Montreal years and years after. But it's really books who get me into illustration.
So this is part of a book?
Yeah, a small book, really tiny book.
Beautiful. It's like that Stephen King. Which one is that with the two sisters in the hallway?
Yeah. I don't remember the story, but it was a strange thing. But I was completely free, you know, to interpret also her work into that.
The thing that I noticed recently were the doodle things, right? So the stuff that you're doing, which you were so kind to send me a picture. Did you get the one I sent you?
Not yet. No, I would have told you.
Oh, really? Canada Post.
So yeah, I know. Probably not U.S. Postal. No, I know Canada.
No, not here. No. We're Have you? I don't know. Have you ever been to a U.S. post office? Some of those.
Yeah. When I was
You had to get
when I was
disinfected.
in Cape Cod sending things to my parents, and it's just like, they didn't get it. It's just like it get in France like I don't know, 30 days later. It's just
It's unbelievable. You have to like go. You have to get disinfected after you leave in a lot of these places. Anyway, so these are not all of these, but these are all kind of fit into that kind of doodle stuff. So this is all stuff that you do while you're on the phone.
Yeah, it's true. A lot when I'm on the phone, sometimes it's not that I'm not listening to the conversation, but I've always draw, little things when I was on the phone.
Yeah.
And I still like to phone, now with the COVID, with my parents that can't come from France pretty often because of that. We're more into FaceTime or so we can see each other. But when I'm on the phone, I draw a lot. And also, at the end of the day, I used to smoke a lot, and when I was at the end of the day, I was having my little cigarettes, looking at the work done the day and everything.
When you say smoke, are you smoking pot or what?
No, cigarettes. I was
cigarette.
Yeah.
You had to go out and you.
I was smoking a lot, and at the end of the day, because I'm working at home, I just used to have, little time, just to decompress, having a cigarette, looking at the job. If I had, painting left on the palette, I was just doing, things. And now I don't smoke anymore, but I have this time of a little break, and I just draw a little, sometimes. So sometimes a doodle, like it's 11 by 14, most of the pages. Sometimes I will do it in a couple of days or in one day or in one. It really depends. I don't care. It's nothing that I do with a purpose, really.
Mm-hmm. But they're lovely. I mean, do you find that you use elements of these in drawings, in illustrations? Do you find it? Yeah, like that. No.
Well, it's really automatic drawing. So sometimes, I don't want them neither, to look too much like look how I'm good, I do that. I know most of them, are the kind of thing you draw naturally, as you said earlier, some of my figure, are recurring. It's also because I never draw from picture. I never take documents. So I'm from this school where you used to have a character, you used to draw like a comic drawer or something, and I've stayed with that. So I draw all the time pretty much the same face. I try to do differently sometimes. I know how to do differently. It's just I have this kind of monolith. I have to, I don't know, I relate to.
Really briefly, tell me what this is.
Yeah, this is I've been approached at some point by ONF, the broadcasting, this animation Canadian thing that's I don't know, a big Canadian thing where they do animation. I had an idea at some point having those two little kids, coming out from my sketchbook after I'm out of the studio. And so I had little scenarios, it would have been really, really short, 1 minute or 40 seconds things, just a little thing. So this is just one of the small demo I've done, so they can see. This is a book I've done for me. So this is what I like, like for the doodles, for example, when you said, do I use them after that? Not really, but sometimes, it pushed me into something, at some point. That's why at the beginning I had a black outline around my shapes. I've stopped that because I was doing some sketches just with no outline. At some point I leave things by the side, just going there. And for this one, it was the same. I had some ideas of games between kids. And finally, it happens that I had, 30. And then I said, how can I do something with that? And then I work, and I've worked for 2 years, but, on the side of my regular work. And finally, I find a publisher in France that was interested.
Is this part of it?
Yeah, the same.
All the ones that have this. So these are really beautiful. When I teach, we work a lot with limited color, and this is a really good example of it,
Yeah, it was really a small thing, and it was just, kid stuff, but getting them, with different chapters in that. And so I think it's a little book, and finally I got an award in Bologna for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Was it published?
Yeah, it was published in France, and it has been translated in Spanish too. And I had many good review everywhere. It's not a big success, as you said, but really good reviews, and this award in Bologna.
Yeah. So what is this? So this is all stuff that I'm showing because it's kind of doodles, but it's like this kind of limited color stuff.
Yeah, this is really for a book. I've done 4 books since spring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What kind of book?
This one is one of them. It was for a French publisher. It was the duo of literature. So this one is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, really? Okay.
You have Ophélie and Hamlet. You have you have different, and it was 20 full pages like that.
Oh man, I wish I could see these things. Maybe you can send me a list. Send me a list, and I'll try to buy them on Amazon.
Yeah, this one is really a bigger book. I can't, have boxes. Boxes around.
I know how it is.
And they're all there, but it's a bigger books, and I've done. I don't know. I think I've done 30 lately. Approximately.
Well, I mean, the thing is that this kind of stuff, like I mentioned before, not to sound like an old fart, but like 30 years ago, when a book came out, we knew about it, right? Like everybody would know about this, and you buy it in the bookshop, right?
I'll have one someday.
All right. So anyway, so there's that, and then there's some kid. This is a new book, right?
This one was done even before. This one was done last year, I guess. Again, it's a small, tiny book for a newer publisher. And the text was really simple. So you have to find all the ideas in that. So that's what really get me into it. It's just this kid that don't want to sleep. And it's just like, I'd like to this, I'd like to that. Each page was just a little sentence.
Okay.
And so the fun was, just to find something that was talking to kids and at the same time find an idea a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. It was just fun. I actually right now, if I could, I would just do books.
Would you? Yeah. They have a life of their own, right? It's
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm in this kind of rhythm. It's a different rhythm also. It's I don't know. And what I like, you have a certain freedom to change a little bit the approach. Yeah. The graphic approach from one to one. It's more difficult, let's say, with an editorial. The client has seen a couple of things from you, and he wants that.
So this is hand drawn, then digitally colored.
Yeah, this one was hand drawn. This one was a fountain pen. Then I scan and I put the colors.
And even the detail of the ripped paper.
Yeah, this is just drop. The back of the paper on the back is just dropped in Photoshop. It's a layer.
I know. So this is part of the artwork, right? You're like that is it's for stressed out effect. Something.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this kind of thing.
This one is for Folio Society in London.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this was for them. I've begged for them to work. I wanted to work with them because, again, as I was saying, I really wanted to do books, either children or adults or whatever. And this one was done with them. It was all the Italian folk tales.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Italo Calvino?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so it was really fantastic.
And they did the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big brick.
That's
I think they're in the box there. I think I got the one, the blank one when they try the cover. I won't send you that because they will ask me for, It's just, this one is just for the test of the cover because the cover is really.
Yeah, so beautiful. Wow. So you did a plate per story.
Yeah, I did no, it would have been too much. I think I did 20 illustrations in total, I guess.
Really?
So it's 10 illustrations per volume.
Wow, how wonderful. I have to check that
out.
Yeah,
it was really nice. I did another one I can talk about right now in March.
Really?
No more. Yeah.
Another one you cannot talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we get you drunk? And this is a what?
This is also a big collection for a book. It was you know, all the Humpty Dumpty, you know, stories.
Mother Goose.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Mother Goose, but this book was done with a dogma.
What do you call that in French? The canard?
Comptine de la Merlois.
Just call it Mother Goose, man.
Exactly. So and this one, the thing was done with. In fact, the publisher has this idea to do this book, and you had to do it in less than 10 days.
Wow.
With a limited palette.
Wow.
So and it has a collection of 6 or 7 books now. And so it's not that well paid. It's just for fun, you know.
So let me. There's a question I want to ask. So the books that the few of the kids books you show, are they from in Montreal or are they in France?
In Montreal, I've done couple. I worked with Comme des Géants. I've worked with La Pastèque. I've just finished a book with La Pastèque in Montreal. And but I work a lot with a French publisher. I've worked also a couple of times in United States. It's a bit more difficult, a bigger machine, I would say, you know, to get on track, much more discussion about everything. So it's a little bit more difficult, I would say. And so far, they've always wanted my painting thing.
You mean working in the States is more difficult because of the way things are
for the books it's completely different. Yeah, but it's also easy to explain, you know. A publisher in the United States, you know, pay for everything.
Yeah.
They have not a dime from the government, from anybody. In France, in Canada, they're helped by the government, so it's a cultural thing. So they don't take the same risk. You know what I mean?
But also the readership are different in France and here.
Yeah.
So I mean, kids' books are it can be a very conservative area, you know. Whereas in France, you know, in Germany also, the kids' books are really fantastic. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. I have a couple of books of mine that are published in Germany, and it's crazy. You know, they have so many in Frankfurt, for example. The book fair is amazing. You know, just like. So anyway, it's through the books, you know, I try to work with, I don't know, it's not that much paid, so I try to go with, you know, what I really like, or if I see that I'll have fun. Do a book that you don't like, this is a hell. I've been through that, and it's really a hell.
Yeah. That's not. I've done a few of those. No. So technically, I don't. Yeah. So technically, this looks like a woodcut, but it's not. How are you doing that?
Yeah, this one is completely Photoshop. So I draw again, you know, just looking at my screen and drawing on my Wacom.
So the line you're getting here, how are you getting the
it's because after that I select the black.
Oh, and then you lay in a...
And then I try to come with something, but not without feeling every part. I try to have accident into also the feeling.
All right, so you scan some kind of an uneven thing and you lay it in with a black line.
Yeah, I try to have not the whole black line, you know, taken, and I see how it goes.
Yeah, but it has a quality of woodcut because it's skipping. The ink is skipping in places. Yeah. Anyway, that's a little too technical maybe, but yeah. So that's great. That's lovely. Wonderful.
So this is the one and the kid earlier. Yeah, all this is from the Italo Calvino. This one is supposed to be published soon in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the Italo Calvino.
No, this one is for on the other side of the forest. It has been published here in Montreal, and we had really amazing reviews. It has been translated so far in 5 or 6 countries.
Really?
And, yeah. And it's supposed to be out in March in Vancouver, but also in United States, in England. It's the same publisher. So I don't know. They're really into it.
Who do you publish with here in New York?
In New York, I've worked with Sterling. I've worked with, they always change their name. because they merge all the time. So,
yeah. All right. So yeah, it doesn't matter. I thought you had one publisher. So one more question related to kids' books. Are you writing your own?
If I'm what?
Writing your own books? You like writing your own stories?
I've done it for the one I told you about, the little kids, and I had another one I've wrote also a long time ago. Again, I've stayed for a year and a half working on it, and finally, Le Seuil publisher bought it in France.
Right.
So I've done it. It has been well received, but so far I don't have more ideas. I like the collaboration also. I love text. Yeah. I love, and I don't know. I like all of a sudden, you find something. Maybe if it's old, you didn't know, and then you have I don't know, a coup de cœur, and you want to do it. It just
yeah. Well, yeah. If you could hook up with a good writer, that's for sure. What the hell is this?
That's also in the Italo Calvino thing.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them were gore, but they wanted me to,
wow, that's
my horse a bit. and even that, I'm not too much into gore. I like things where you're in the middle of something. I prefer gray than black or white.
But I think it's gory, but it's actually like it's really scary.
Yeah,
but it's not gory. It's not But yeah, it's fucking scary, man. Same thing.
Yeah, so I've been able, you see, to have this work not so many times, but this was for the New Yorker. So sometimes I tend to propose, this other approach that I have for books to editorial work. The New Yorker accepted it. They also, I did also the little black and white, spots you have in the New Yorker sometimes.
Right.
This is fun. This is how I've always done all the changes in my work. I never stopped to say, okay, I will change my style. It has always been through the process of working. All of a sudden I was saying, you know what, there's no black line anymore. Oh yeah, but you can do that. Yes. I have. It's difficult for me to go back at the moment. My mind is there and I know this is what I should do. It's difficult to go back. Right now, I'm a little bit more cautious because still, I have a family. I have to,
you're busy.
Even then, I've always done that, even when the family was younger and I had to pay bills and everything. I think that's why I try to say also to the students. And it's just because I have students that I had to think, how did I, but you have to be 100% behind what you're doing. You have to follow the little voice, because if you don't do that, you can defend yourself. Someone say, it's strange, this part, and it's just, yeah, I know, I don't. I mean, you have to believe a little bit and be 100% honest. Okay, this one sucked because of this, because of that. Right. I've done that wrong. This art director asked me that. But trying to have a good analysis of everything and know what you want to do.
But it takes a long time to develop that. No. That's actually what I tell a lot of my seniors. They're kind of, a lot of them. Some of them are really lost. They're not. They feel bad because they don't have a style. And I say, like,
I know.
Style happens. It's not something you don't develop it. It's like
exactly
something that happens. It's a magical thing.
That's what I had when I was in school. It's just my friends had styles already. They were into, as I was saying, all those Petit Roulet, François Avril, everybody from the 80s, and I was not in that at all. I've been lucky after that. I was by myself in Maritimes in Canada. Just drawing all the time, not seeing anything, and nobody over my shoulder to say, "Oh, you do that? It's strange." You just work and then you build a thing. But yeah, it was different then. Also, me, I had nobody to look at. I had no computer. I have nothing. Right now, you put your thing on Instagram, you see the best in the world. Every second. So you're compared right away. I can see, with my kids, when he started skateboard, he was 5 years old. It was okay. Then when he got to see things on YouTube, and he was just like, yeah, but I'll never do that. And
Yeah,
it's really, really difficult all of a sudden, you know, you're exposed to so many great people.
I think, you know, 'cause I lived in China for many years, and I was kind of isolated like that. It was really a very productive time because,
Sure.
of course, you can see stuff on the internet, but you know, it's like they have censorship there for one thing, you know. But you know, you end up kind of, it's very good for you to pull out. But I actually go as far with students. You know, after a while, I say, listen, stop looking at other things. You know, stop looking at other people's work. Always looking at books. Always looking at, like, or now I'm going to show them your work right now, which is going to be a huge influence on them. But on some level, for certain students, they should not be paying too much attention to other people's work. You know, that's I feel that pretty strongly. But listen, so technically, you're the stuff that you work with are like just your brushes and acrylics and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I used to, you know, I love to paint on a newsprint, you know, on paper that I just, you know, put on paper so it doesn't, you know, move too much. Yeah. But I love cheap paper. I'm not really technical at all. Don't tell me about, this fiber is this and that. I mean, I paint on whatever. Same for the brushes. Yeah, I like when I wanted, you know, something to be more precise. I've tried to have, you know, a brush that was, you know, better, but
it's not. I'm with you.
That's why I say, you know, sometimes I hear people talking about, you know, the technique and even Photoshop, you know, they do that, or the paintings. I wish I knew more. I wish I was more raffiné.
No, you don't need to be more raffiné. But I mean, for certain people, it really makes a difference. You know, like Chris Bazzelli, for instance. I think the kind of brush he uses really will make a difference. You know, and whatever, you know.
I guess.
And like that, right? Hey, listen. Would you mind sending some photographs of your desk and your, like, the stuff that you have in your studio, like your
I can.
I'd really like to see some close-ups of your workspace and your studio and your.
Yeah, as you can see, you know, it's really
your sock drawer.
Yeah, it's a desk. It's like it's on the side of the house, and there's no basement, not basement, but you know there's nothing. It's just a summer kitchen. It used to be a summer kitchen from the 50s.
Oh, so it's really cold.
So it's really cold. You know, the first year we get in, I think we get in 20 years ago. The first years, I'm not sure you're familiar with Celsius, but even with the 2 either, it was 10 degrees.
Oh.
Yeah. Usually
like
we need at least 20 or 19, you know. So it was really, really, really cold, and it's still cold, you know. Sometimes, like today, it's minus 18.
I know.
But
when we moved to Canada from basically from China, and when we arrived in the airport in Toronto, we were like wearing we had sandals on, right? And it was like the biggest snowstorm of the year.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe the amount of snow. And it's worse in Montreal, right?
Yeah, like, it's worse in Montreal than in Toronto. Yeah.
But Montreal,
I don't know. We get used to it. But the studio is really like, it's mostly 2 desks, 1 computer, and on the other side there's just you know, where I used to paint. I used to have something where this thing, a chevalet.
Yeah.
You know,
an easel. Yeah.
You
don't do that anymore. So, last question: how much do you work? How often and how many hours do you work?
I've always been some kind of a regular guy, so I wake up, you know, let's say, and I start to work at 8:30. And I finished, I don't know, my day is really easy, you know. I'm not, except if I'm really in a rush, but I would say at 6 I stop. 6 p.m. When I've changed my style, at some point I took off the black outline. It was back in 94, something like that. It was so much hell to do the complete painting without the black outline and everything.
Right.
And I was at that time, it was the time also that I think it was the first year I get in CA, so I got more jobs and things. And all of a sudden, you know, I wasn't able to do the thing. So I was waking up at 4 and stopping at 11.
Wow.
So that's fine. So I'm trying to adapt, what I have to do. Lately, it's really, really strange, for everybody anyway, to concentrate right now. It's more difficult. To do many things, it's far more difficult lately.
The whole family is at home.
Yeah, but I have, I would say, a regular day. Really, like someone's working, let's say, in an office. I'm not really into, I want to work all night and everything, because I know I'll be scrapped the day after, and I prefer to be, if I have to, I will, it's not a problem. But, or I will draw little doodles, but to me, it's not work, it's just,
Right.
distraction.
You're right. Gerard, thank you so much. I think this is great. I mean, it's great to kind of meet you, but not really meet you.
Me too. Yeah, I wish I was in Brooklyn. I've seen you had a nice little terrace and everything. With
you come out. You come down next time, or we're going up. We go to Canada, and so maybe.
Yeah, and I'll try to have you a couple of books. I don't know.
Well, that'd be nice. Thank you. But don't only if it's convenient. Yeah. All right, man. I hope the drawings I sent you arrive. But
yeah, I will let you know for sure.
I'll send you some other ones. I'll have my robot. I'll have my robot do it for you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's amazing. This thing is really amazing. Yeah, even I remember your big book you've done for a show a couple of years ago. Wow.
Yeah. I work in books like that. Anyway, so yeah. All right, man. Nice talking, and
me too.
I'll send you when I edit this. I'll send it to you, and you can approve it, and then
no problem. And I will send you some picture from the studio and a couple of titles and things.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Have a nice afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.